Joining me now, Democratic strategist Leroy Jones, Jr. of 1868 Public Affairs, and Rob Ortiz, who is the former chairman of the Bergen County Republican Committee. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Now, obviously, when you're looking at Mayor Peter Camerano in Hoboken, what a tragedy for a young politician. Why do you think other politicians are resisting the call to step down, to resign?
Well, you know, it's usually an ego thing to start with, and you know, one that you're innocent. You're presumed innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. So everybody wants to at least deal under the umbrella of justice that we have in this country. But when you're in a political environment that we're in now, we're in the midst of a gubernatorial campaign. Mm-hmm. All this is heightened, that would ultimately have some impact there. So there's going to be calls for resignation of individuals who have allegedly, engaged themselves in wrongdoings.
Do you think it's right that they're still there?
Well, I have to agree with Leroy on this point. Right now, these are simply indictments. Mm-hmm. We have a presumption of innocence. The charges, if true, though, I think reflect that we as a state need to start looking at the political atmosphere a little closer, and I think we need to make sure that the people that we elect are doing it for the right reasons.
But you saw the tumult surrounding the council city meeting there. Now, don't you think that's going to detract from people's ability to govern?
Oh, absolutely, and until an individual, and that's why I think you had the resignation of the mayor of Secaucus, because it does impact his ability to impact government along the way. Mm-hmm. So those calls are going to be more widespread. The call for Mayor Camerano to step down, right. Because it impacts his ability to govern, and at some point he realizes that, as did the mayor of Secaucus. So,
do you think that they're afraid, though, that if they step down, it's going to look almost like a tacit admission of guilt?
Well, that's where you get the hesitancy to step down, because
right.
it does look like that. So you're sort of caught in a catch-22.
Exactly. And what you alluded to, the effect that it has on the larger scale, simply mm-hmm. this year being a gubernatorial year, is massive. Mm-hmm. The reason that corruption is such an issue right now is because of something like this, and you're seeing that the poll numbers for Corzine are dropping, and I think it's a direct correlation. Mm-hmm. His strong suit was the economy, and when the economy, being as it is right now, going down with unemployment,
the issue?
And unemployment almost reaching 10%, the issue of corruption on top of that. Mm-hmm. I think you're giving the electorate a chance to knock out,
See, I disagree with a little bit of that, because I don't know that the this Corruption Act has had any impact on the governor's polling numbers.
No, we haven't seen a new poll come out.
No, we haven't. That's why I wanted to make that that point, and make that clear. The last poll that was out, had some wide gap between the governor and his opponent. Uh-huh. But I believe there was, that poll lacked credibility as well. I think there's some internal polls that, suggest that it's a little closer. And, we're not into the thick of the campaign as of yet, mm-hmm. Which will, kick off, hard in September.
Right.
So, as we get to that point, I think the thing that we need to realize when we're talking about polls is the only poll that counts is a poll on election day.
Absolutely.
Day, of course.
But I think what you've seen, though, is that the economy was his strong suit, the governor's strong suit, and right now
that's been replaced in the headlines.
The incumbent's going to be blamed for the pocketbook of mm-hmm. the electorate. These are pocketbook issues, and people are concerned about how they're going to pay their bills. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, if corruption is still being spoken about in September, and it's definitely in October, mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a landslide for Christie.
What does it say, though, that the governor's calling on the people who have been indicted to step down, and they're resisting the call? Does that erode his credibility as the leader of the party?
No, absolutely. I think it heightens his credibility as a reformed governor. Mm-hmm. He's been, at the helm of pay to play. He's been part and parcel of legislation that was hard on on corrupted corruption, individuals that engaged in wrongdoings,
Right.
whether they be political figures or corporate figures or what have you. He has been certainly at the forefront of reforming government.
Right.
At times that has certainly had played against him because he has been bold, daring, and different in areas that folks kind of shun away from.
Right.
But I think that separates himself from from the pack, and I think that will clarify itself as we move through this election cycle.
Now, you can't deny that this is going to help Chris Christie.
To an extent, yes. I mean, you're going to see that the people of New Jersey have a choice this year, and you can choose someone who's fought the battle. He put 130 politicians away, both Republican and Democrat.
But the ones that he's put money in their pocket is the ones that we rarely talk about. When we talk about John Ashcroft, when we talk about no bid contracts, and the list of individuals, that's just
trying to spin.
See, Bob and his folks will suggest it is spin, but when you look at the reality of it, there bears a lot of questioning, and there certainly bears more scrutiny.
Well,
but that's great. I mean,
what Mr. Christie does.
If the Democrats want to talk about corruption and ethics all the way through election, I think it's a win.
There is one question, though, the timing of this. Obviously, Chris Christie was there during the running of this whole sting operation, and the fact that it broke now.
Well, I think that's just coincidental. I mean, the investigation started even prior to Chris Christie
You noticed that too,
joining.
Brenda? Did you notice that too?
Even becoming U.S. attorney.
asking.
I think it's simply coincidence. I mean, the FBI was involved, the IRS, the U.S. Attorney's Office. There were a lot of agencies working together. So,
spoken like a good attorney and a former Republican chairman.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. I think that this is going to be a very interesting campaign.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.